Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are actually inside the studio. We got the soundproof in here, which is pretty nice, but we're going to talk about public speaking today. So for those of you new to the channel, I'm a communication professor during the day and I come onto YouTube, I guess at night. So I've been teaching public speaking for a long time, and first and foremost, you know, it's not uncommon to find people who are deathly afraid of public speaking. So if you look at like a lot of the recent polls and really older polls too that show, you know, what are the most common fears amongst those living in America, and I would guess that this is probably the case outside of America too, public speaking is usually right up there with one of the top fears, along with like airplanes and snakes and spiders. Public speaking can be really challenging, and there's a lot of different forms of public speaking, whether you're, you know, giving a business presentation, whether you're just giving a speech in your college classroom, or perhaps it's a best man speech at a wedding, right? There's all different kinds of these opportunities that we have to go in front of an audience, whether it be an imagined audience, like it is here on YouTube online, or maybe it's a live audience. And then also people have differing opinions on, are they more comfortable with people they know, or are they more comfortable with people they don't know? So we're going to get into some of the tips and strategies that you can use to be more prepared for your next public presentation. Let's get right into it. All right, so before we start, all I ask right now, pause the video, hit that subscribe button, become part of the community. That's all I ask. I'm not trying to sell any kind of products here. Just want you to become part of the community. Help that YouTube algorithm and help me out. Help me gain some new subscribers. That'd be great. So let's get right into it. Let's waste no time. First tip, and this is going to sound kind of cliche, but hang in there with me. I'm going to give you some really good ones later on in the video. You're not going to want to maybe hear this first one, but you've got to be prepared. Right? A lot of people go into presentations having not prepared properly, having only read through it maybe one time. And when I say prepare, I mean you should be reading through your speech. Let's say it's a 5 to 8 minute speech, right? Or a 5 to 8 minute talk, which this is pretty common. You should run through that anywhere from 15 to 30 times. And I'm not just saying in an environment where you're sitting down, I mean make it realistic. So if you're going to be giving a live presentation, go in front of the mirror, right? Gather some friends around or family in a room. Stand up as if you would be giving the presentation, right? Walk around. Make it feel like you're actually there giving the presentation. The more that you can duplicate how it's going to be when you actually give the presentation, the better off you're going to be, and this practice will really, really help. So practice and prepare, that's tip number one. Tip number two, be enthusiastic. No one likes a monotone speaker, right? A lot of us have been in school and college before where we have that professor who's just up at the board and saying, okay, now the next step in this process is, nobody likes that, right? Switch it up. Have some variety, vocal variety, change your volume, change your tone, get really quiet at times, make people interested in what you have to say, and then bring it back up. And then, you know, so do different things with your voice to keep people engaged. Remember, we're in this environment right now where it's really hard to capture people's attention. It's really hard to keep them focused in on what you want to say. So this is a great opportunity for you to try different things out, and this is going to happen while you're preparing. You know, you don't want to go in there and not having prepared, you know, when you're going to get loud and when you're going to get quiet, right? You want to have this prepared and know exactly at various stages in the speech when you're going to change your pace, when you're going to change your volume. This can really help keep your audience engaged. Okay, tip number three is if you're giving a live presentation or a live talk or a live speech in any format. And I tell this to all my students too when they're giving their presentations in class. Own your space. Own the front of that room or own that stage. Whatever that space is for you when you're giving this presentation, own it. And what I mean is don't get locked into one place. A lot of times we have a podium up there. And it's really, really common for somebody to just kind of hide behind the podium, right? Because there's a comfort level to that, right? You have your speech written out there. You don't have to leave that spot, right? You're kind of hiding behind it. But in reality, great speakers move around a lot on stage or in front of a classroom or in front of people in a business setting, right? Really understand that you can move your audience to different portions of the speech. So something I tell my students all the time, as you're transitioning from one point to the next, literally move to the other side of the room. So you're literally taking the audience with you to the next point. And these nonverbal cues are really going to help, again, keep your audience engaged and make them want to listen, and you're going to be much more persuasive this way too. The fourth and final tip that I want to give you is really focus on the beginning of your speech. So if the situation calls for it, have some type of icebreaker, have something where you can get the audience laughing. This is really good in a best man speech, right? Or a speech at a wedding. Have something where it kind of breaks down that proverbial wall and makes things a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more informal. It's going to help you out. It's going to break the audience in. Right? So I'll give you a couple examples of this. So one way we can do this, say we're giving a business presentation, right? Talk a little bit about, the feeling you got when you walked into the room, right? Or talk a little bit about your experience that morning at Starbucks. Just something interesting, something cool and funny right at the beginning to kind of, break down that wall and, have kind of an icebreaker, if you will. It's going to help you out a lot. And really practice it, hone it in too, to know that, this is going to go well, this is going to go smooth, and it's going to really set the tone for the rest of this talk or the rest of this presentation. So I hope these 4 tips help you out. Again, before you head out of here, hit that subscribe button. I do all kind of videos on communication skills as well as self-development, and I'll see you in the next one.